I've always been fascinated by space. And now you're probably saying, yes, and? Well, that's it. It's just cool.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
We got a roll program.
Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on a proper heading. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
I know I'll probably never get to go, but hey, maybe, just maybe, if I close my eyes and dream, anything can happen.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Hello everybody and welcome to Watch Me Go Broke. You know, I showed my wife that intro and she said, that's a little long. And yeah, it was, but it's my passion for space. And today I bring you one of my grail watches, which is the Seiko 6139/6005, otherwise known as the Pogue. On my wrist today, I can't stop wearing it. The Seiko Flightmaster on this modified Uncle Seiko bracelet. I think it is, oh, I got some goosebumps. That's how excited I am. Look at that. But yeah, love this watch on this bracelet. Let's get to it. And here is today's watch. This is the Seiko 6139/6005, otherwise known as the Pogue. It's called the Pogue after Colonel William Pogue. Smuggled it on board his mission to Skylab in 1973. This watch was not certified by NASA for spaceflight because all astronauts were issued an Omega Speedmaster for their flights. Now, legend has it, well, it's not really legend, he said this, Colonel Pogue smuggled this in his space suit, the leg of his space suit, shortly before the launch. Because he wasn't issued his Omega Speedmaster until right before he was set to blast off. So he had subsequently been using this particular watch in his training, so he was pretty comfortable using it. Now, Colonel Pogue, by using this watch in space, made it the first automatic chronograph in space. And you may think, well, that's kind of ridiculous because automatic watches work on gravity from the oscillating rotor. But Colonel Pogue said the watch worked completely fine in space and he did not have to use any other extra arm motions in order to keep the watch powered up. Let's go over the specs. You have a 41.5 millimeter case, a thickness of 14 millimeters, so pretty thick there. Lug to lug, 46 millimeters, and a lug width of 19, which was pretty traditional for Seiko at that time. And the watch is, of course, powered by the Seiko 6139 movement. It is a 17 joule movement, and it beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. Zooming in on the dial, that dial the color is so beautiful. By the way, for all intensive purposes, I believe this is all original except for the crystal, which has been replaced. It is a Hardlex crystal, which I believe is what they were using at the time. Now, I know there's a lot of conjecture out there about which is a true Pogue and which isn't a true Pogue. This one, for what I can see, is exactly the same as the one that Colonel Pogue took to space, except for it does not have the water 70mm resist at the 9 o'clock position. But it does have all the other specs. Now, Colonel Pogue wore his watch even after he came back from Skylab for about 30 years. I think he built a house with it, and then it went up for auction in 2008 and fetched a cool about $6,000 on the auction block, which is quite a bit more than the $71 he paid for it in June of 1972. Now, looking at the side-by-side comparison, you can see there's quite a few things that are similar. Actually, it's completely similar. You have the Seiko automatic. I know some of them have Seiko automatic chronograph, so that would not be in keeping with the Pogue. Of course, it doesn't have the 70 meters water resist there. It does have the 17 joule and the SUA factory logo just above the chronograph counter there. So that is also in line with the Pogue. A lot of the later ones did not have that. You've got Japan 6139 and then dash 6009T, and that is also the same. You also do not have a hash mark below the 60 marker on the tachymeter there, so that is also in keeping with it, and it is not a notched case, so you don't have a notch there. Some of them do, and the little dimpled period correct crown there. Now, this case has been polished, unfortunately, but you can still see a little bit of the circular brushing on the top of the lugs there. You know, it's rounded edges there, which is kind of, I guess, been slightly over polished, so you did lose a bit of the angles there. But all in all, it doesn't really look to be, way out of control polishing. So you have the inner rotating bezel, which on Colonel Pogue's appears to be white, and that's because it was originally gold, but then it faded over time, over the 50 years he had it, or the 30 years that he had it. Faded over time. Mine has faded a little bit to a light yellow, so it's not quite white yet. And you just operate it by turning the crown here back and forth, and the action on this is extremely smooth. It is just a little plastic ring there, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels really nice and high quality. Now, mine also has some deterioration, as you can see. It started to deteriorate around the dial. I think there's around the chronograph subdial. That to me, it's not really patina, that's more deterioration. And even the loom, as you can see, is pretty deteriorated. I wouldn't call that necessarily patina. I would call the ring, the inner chapter ring there, patina. But the rest of it, you get these little black spots on the dial as well. Some of them have it, some of them don't. I think there's probably better examples out there. But at the price that I got it for, I'm pretty happy with the condition of the watch. Now, I have this on a cheapestnadostraps.com mustard-colored 19mm NATO strap, and I think it looks absolutely awesome on this strap. Now, the watch came on a Uncle Seiko President-style bracelet made specifically for this watch, which I think is really cool, and also arriving today, which hopefully I can throw this in the video there. I got the period correct H-link bracelet that does not taper, which was what originally came with this watch, and I picked that up from Uncle Seiko. So it is a little aftermarket, but adds a little more of a correct vibe to the watch. And taking a look at the case back, in pretty good condition, a few scratches there. You'll notice the serial number, and that's where you can tell the year and the month it was manufactured. So mine was manufactured in June of '72. Just happens to be the same month that Colonel Pogue bought his. He bought his in June of '72, so this was manufactured in that same month. Obviously not for sale that same month, so his was, I believe, a 71, I think. So mine was about not quite a year after his was manufactured. And so even though the loom is deteriorated quite a bit, you do get a little bit of a show if you put it under a bright light, which I will show you now. It doesn't last very long, just a few seconds, but you can kind of see what it looked like back in the day. Now, with these 6139 chronographs, and trust me, I've watched every single video on YouTube about this watch and read countless articles about it. And from what I can surmise, and Spencer Klein, of course, everybody mentions Spencer Klein when you talk about these watches. He recommends to leave the chronograph running the entire time, just the way that the column wheel chronograph is designed. It's a little bit different, but this is Seiko's first automatic chronograph that they ever made. So even if it didn't go to space, it is a cool watch to have. So yeah, I mean, having one of my Grail watches now, and that dial, I mean, the beautiful like honey-colored sunburst dial, it's just absolutely beautiful. I don't know what they were thinking when they designed this watch. It's like so weird, like the coloring to have the red, and of course the bezel insert there is original. It's faded to a little bit of a pink there, but what a weird mishmash of colors that works perfectly. So yeah, guys, I think you can still find these for reasonably cheap, in decent condition. I think I found one that's pretty good. It's been running well. It's been keeping good time. I have not had any issues with it in the short term that I've had it. But yeah, just having a watch that's been to space, you know, the Speedmaster is one of my grails, obviously. And then my other grail is going to be the Omega Seamaster 1957 reissue there of the 300M. So, or not 300M, 300. So I guess one of three is down. So hopefully you can keep this running for a long time. It was serviced at the end of 2020, and these usually last for a very long time. Hopefully another 40 years. But yeah, guys, I mean, that's what I have for you today. I think this watch is fantastic. It's just beautiful. If you can pick one up in good condition, I'd recommend it. But yeah, I mean, don't come at me that it's not a true Pogue. I think it's probably as close as I'm going to get in my lifetime. But yeah, guys, that is all I have for today, and I will see you next time.